1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, and we still ain't sold out. Welcome back to Country and Cold Cans. I'm Logan sitting here with Trucker Andy and Kyle. If you guys haven't heard it, Andy and Kyle like it a lot more than I do because it's not really my style of music, but that was referencing the new Hardy Rock song on the Big Loud Rock label that they started. I think it's called Sold Out.
I think I like your screaming more than his.
Hey, well, let us know what you think, listeners.
I think you have an alternative path into the music industry.
Just screaming little clips for like 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So before we jump into everything, like, what do you guys think of that song? Because I know it's more up your alley than mine.
I'm not as big of a fan as you think I am. I think Hardy's more of a puddle of mud than he is maybe more little hardcore,
right?
More of a mud shovel.
What is it with these bands and their obsession with mud? Puddle of mud, mud shovel,
mud vein.
I don't.
Mud shovel's the song. Mud vein is the band. Excuse me.
Oh, sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, mud shovel is a song.
Still a lot of mud.
Yeah, mud shovel is a song by Stained.
There's your obligatory Stained reference every episode.
You already know. I think Hardy could cover a Stained song fairly well.
Probably.
I think,
Logan thinks it's not very hard.
Well, Logan is wrong about a few things in his life, and that would be one of them. Like I said, I don't know what he was really trying to accomplish with it. I mean,
rock out.
I don't really think he did rock out.
I think he rocked out.
I think he rocked out more on the Puddle of Mud cover than he did on this.
I would agree with that statement.
He did a really good job on that cover of that song, but
he did an excellent job.
Yeah, blurry. Yeah. But this one, I don't dislike it. If it comes on my Spotify mix, depending on my mood, I'm not going to skip it. It doesn't make me upset. It's labeled a rock song, which I appreciate. When artists do something like that and they don't label it on Spotify or iTunes, or is iTunes even a thing? I guess it's Apple Music now. They don't label it country. Like, it's a rock song. It's released on the rock imprint of his label, so I'm fine with it. I mean, he obviously has a lot of rock influence.
The song I would really like to hear Hardy cover is "Animals" by Nickelback. I think he could do a really good job with that song.
Yeah.
Because there is no screaming in it. Screaming's not his forte.
And I thought he did good.
I don't think he did bad with the screaming. But at the same time, I also am a guy who really doesn't like a lot of screaming in my songs.
It's quite a talent. I mean, it's incredibly harmful on your vocal cords, for one. So most bands that are into that, they have one guy that does the screaming and another guy that does the singing. Not all the time, but for the most part. I thought it was okay. I just don't really know what he was trying to prove.
Well, he's trying to tell you that he's wall to wall and he still ain't sold out.
Yeah, but I don't really know if he proved it.
Co liked it. He tweeted that after the song came out on Twitter. He just said wall to wall and I still ain't sold out. And some people went ham on him in the comments. Some people were just like, we're gonna have to audit this.
I still haven't heard Co scream in a song yet.
We've heard him scream. I mean, he did it on.
But not that.
Yeah, it was just nonsense noise. It sounded like SpongeBob and Patrick screaming, running through the under Bikini Bottom.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if that's really his forte. So it's fine. It's a fine song. I'm not like a stan about it.
Yeah.
Well, I like
it. That's because, as we'll find out later in the episode when we get to the songs, Andy hates country music. Remember that, folks.
Yes.
All right. So moving into the top story here on the rundown it's pretty simple. It's been all over Twitter today. It has to do with probably the biggest college basketball game in 50 years, maybe since Magic versus Bird in 79 and the national title game with Michigan State versus Indiana State. It's definitely a big deal to North Carolinians, Duke versus North Carolina Final Four. But the music-related thing to this is Eric Church, App State grad, known Tar Heel fan, big Tar Heel guy, goes to basketball games, football games, friends with Mac Brown, unfortunately. And he had a sold out show in San Antonio with had 20,000 tickets sold. Like about 24 hours before the show, he cancels the show so he and his family can go to the Final Four game. He releases a statement and was basically apologizing to his fan base, which is called the Church Choir, saying that this is probably the most selfish thing he can do. But he hopes they understand it's the same passion that fuels his fan base, and with how they react when they're at a concert is how he feels at a basketball game. And this is like a once in a lifetime game that's never happened before in the tournament, especially in the Final Four, that he hopes they understand and hopes that they can be happy that for him and his family being able to experience something like this. And so, I mean, he released an apology about it. It's one of those things that I guess some people on Twitter are pissed about it. If you're an Eric Church fan who you spend a lot of money to go to that show, some people who are just the pinkies out, nothing in the mainstream is worth a shit. Independent fans are trashing Eric Church and acting like he has crazy, shitty music, which is they're wrong. Then there's the folks who act like that nothing's wrong with it. Very few of those I've seen, but that's wrong too, in my opinion. I think everybody's wrong across the board. But what is y'all's take on this? Eric Church canceling about a day before the show, 20,000 sold out arena show to go to Duke, Carolina at the Final Four in New Orleans.
I actually have a great deal of problems with this. It isn't so much he's a professional. All right. Sometimes being a professional, you may have to do things that inconvenience you. And, it's very North Carolinian of him to not go to either one of the schools, but still be a fan of one of the two schools. But
retweet.
It isn't so much the fact that he's a big fan. That's understandable. No fault there. It's the fact of we knew this, and it may not entirely be his fault. There may be a number of things, the promoter, the venue, and all this stuff. But we knew the game was set 4 days ago. Many people already have hotel rooms. They already have accommodations for their kids. They already have a number of things lined up so they can go to this show. And now they're on the hook for that.
Yeah.
He may reimburse them the ticket cost, but he's not
the hotel, not the travel, especially
not the travel.
I saw one guy on Twitter saying that he had airfare. They were flying into San Antonio for this.
Yeah, airfare. I mean, if you live in a small town or a rural state, he may not even be coming to your state.
Yeah.
Which is just, it is what it is. So, a lot of people spend a lot of hard-earned money on this, and I get it that he wants to watch the game, but he still is a professional. Record it, turn your phone off, and watch it live on the recorded, and be just as surprised as everyone.
It's tough. It's tough. I know it's not the same recorded game these days, though.
I know. Like I said, turn your phone off.
I don't even bother watching the recorded game because someone's going to ruin it for me with a text message, Instagram meme.
You can put your phone on airplane mode. There's a way to get around it if he really wants to.
I guess it's true, but
he's still a professional. So he's a touring musician. It comes with the territory.
Sure.
I know it's a once in a lifetime thing, but I'm sure there are many people from Alabama that have missed Alabama Auburn games, or from Georgia that have missed, the Georgia in the playoffs or Georgia in a national title because they were doing other things.
The equivalent with the Alabama Auburn would be Alabama Auburn in the CFP. That would be the equivalent to this because it isn't. Right, I'm not saying that I 100% agree with Eric Church, but this isn't just a Duke Carolina regular season game or Duke Carolina ACC tournament game. This is a Final Four matchup, first time ever matched up in the tournament with high stakes. Coach K's potentially last game. This is a lot bigger of a game. I think that where I agree with you was he handled it very poorly. He should have. Well, if you ask me, the fact that he had a show scheduled for the day of the Final Four means he didn't have much confidence in Tar Heels to get there in the fucking first place. But
this is true.
But in reality was like they should have canceled it and made ahead of the 24-hour cancellation policy. They should have done it in a more timely fashion if he was going to do it.
The game was set 4 days ago.
Yes. Like this should have been done and alerted before.
If he was set on it, because I think a lot of airlines have, 24, 48 hours where you can reschedule your flight. Things like that where people can make accommodations. Hotels, they might allow you to not get your money back, but you can move the room date 24 hours out. I mean, those people are they're just fucked.
Yeah.
And to me, that part is unacceptable. People paid hard-earned money to watch you play a show. And I'm a big Eric Church fan, but that's just, it's incredibly selfish. And I mean, he can do whatever he wants, free country. But to me, that's unprofessional to me.
Yeah. Now,
and he does lose a few.
Before I make my next point, Andy, I want to bring you into this. What do you think about this? Like, what's your take on the whole Eric Church cancellation for the Final Four?
For the most part, I would agree with what Kyle said. And I don't really like the fact that he apologizes for it, because I think the fact that you're willing to do that would kind of say that you really didn't care that much, to begin with about it. But another thing is
care about the concert?
Or yeah, sort of. But
so you're saying if he didn't apologize, that would mean he cared about the concert? I don't understand the logic there. You're gonna have to explain that.
For the that he's apologizing more so is that it's like the type, people are, I'll tie 2 points in at the same time. Like everybody's like, oh, I'm so thankful for my fans and all this stuff. And like, oh, I'm so sorry I can't make it. I'm like, well, you could make it and you chose not to.
Well, he didn't say, I'm sorry, I can't make it. He's saying, I'm sorry that I'm not going to make it.
I think it comes across as more insincere. It's not truly an apology. It's more like, hey, I'm sorry I kind of pissed a lot of you people off, but I'm going to do what I want to do.
Well, this is why I don't like when really anyone apologizes anyways, because no one fucking means it when they apologize.
Yeah,
they don't. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's really insincere more so. Yeah, so I think
he has like a prestige, he's a prestigious artist and all that. And I don't know. What's another sporting event that's going on the same day as Duke, Carolina?
Kansas, Villanova.
I mean, say, what if like another team or someone from some other sport? I don't know. I'm sure there's a NASCAR race that day, because that's say, oh, sorry guys, I'm not racing today. I'm going to Duke Carolina game. Do you think they would still have a job the next week?
Yes.
I mean, he's big enough to get away with it. They would just call it
sick.
Yeah, he's big enough to get away with it. I would say it would. The only thing equivalent would be like the Alabama-Auburn game in the college football playoff or SEC title game, or say, I don't know, who's a damn big country fan, a big country artist who's a fan of the Daytona 500. I don't even know who watches racing other than Andy. Blake Shelton. But still, though, I mean, you're a professional. You're a touring musician. All of the really, if Eric Church has a bone to pick with anyone, it should be with his promoter and touring agency. He shouldn't have scheduled a show the weekend of the Final Four and championship weekend, because if he was a true fan, this is going to be me being a stan. If I was in Eric Church's situation, and even if I didn't have the slightest bit of confidence in my team making a run, I'm just immediately not going to have events scheduled just in case they do.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'm not going to sit here and defend and act like he did nothing wrong. I think he did handle it poorly, but I think context on everything is key, and ignore the game. Ignore the game completely. I think that when it comes to some of the hate that he's getting, I think it's a bit unfair. And
a lot of things on Twitter are unfair. But
I'll give my reasons why, though. Eric Church, you'll be hard pressed to find an artist who does more for his fan base than Eric Church. Yeah. None of these other artists, like when he released Mr. Misunderstood to like when he dropped that without announcing it the day of, like, I think it was the CMAs a few years back, he gave a copy to everybody that is in his fan club for free. Like, those are people that are guaranteed to buy your music. He gave it away for free. He has worked to keep tickets on certain tours years ago when we were going, Andy, low enough to where they weren't like $500 for you to have to go to it. He's worked hard against people scalping his tickets and trying to charge high resale things. A lot of these other artists won't do that. And then on top of that, he also has put on 3-hour shows consistently over the last few tours where other these artists do their 90 minutes, same set list as they always do, and nobody cares. My point of contention I have with the independent fans, of which I consider myself most of the time, is they're trashing him for it and acting like he's the worst piece of shit ever. But when people like Turnpike, canceled shows because of, substance abuse issues, that matters contextually too. Like there were issues there, but they did cancel shows. They played shows when they weren't up to their A game, and people let them buy with it, and it happened more than once. So
I mean that's a fair critique.
Like it's George Jones. He got the nickname No Show Jones because he would just not show up to shows. Like there's plenty of. I'm not saying them doing that makes this okay. I'm just saying that if we're going to criticize, we should criticize evenly, whether they're mainstream or independent. And I do think that a lot of people are giving, because he's a mainstream or in the mainstream, he gets more flack just for that more so than what he actually did.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is, if I owned a ticket to that show, I would be extremely pissed off.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I think that is fair. I mean, because it's, imagine we both had tickets to watch, State East Carolina in a bowl game, and for some unknown reason,
must have had a shitty season to be playing y'all in a bowl game.
Well, y'all won your 3 games to open the season, and then went 500 in ACC play per usual. But points to stance, and then for some unknown reason, like they just canceled the bowl game a day or two before. Oh shit, we're already in Texas to watch the game.
Or like they did to Duke and Duke. That's
the Hawaii game.
No. NC State this past year went 9-3, 6-2 in the conference. Got the Holiday Bowl against UCLA. UCLA backed out the morning of, and everyone that paid flights and hotels to go out to San Diego from the East Coast. It was a shit show.
It was a shit. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about. They caught the short end of that. No, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
And I
almost went to San Diego, and I'm glad I did. So
right, yeah. This is what I'm saying. I just look at myself in that situation and say, I would be rightfully annoyed.
Yeah.
Because I'm out that money and I'm not getting it back.
Yeah.
And, now, San Antonio's a cool city. San Antonio's a cool city, but I'm not just, what the fuck else am I going to do? I mean,
you go to the Alamo.
Okay. That killed an hour. I mean,
Now, one thing I would like to bring up is somebody did say this on Twitter, and I found it pretty funny. I realize that it's not an apples to apples comparison. Let me put that out there as a disclaimer. But 9 out of 10 people, if you give them tickets to the Final Four for this game, they're skipping work to go.
Yeah, but you also don't have 20,000 people that paid hard-earned money.
I agree. I said apples to apples. It's not. It's not apples to apples. But
and is it that big of a game?
You would skip
Not
work.
Really.
I would skip work.
Is it that big of a game? Not really.
Okay. But you and I both would skip work. Andy maybe not, because Andy only likes finance and trucking. But
for me,
and he hates country music.
If it's different though to an extent. Like I guess, or my situation would be a little more similar to Eric Church. If I don't show up, that means that job just does not get done. Period. At that late of notice, the job just doesn't get done.
It's like Andy being the truck driver driving the Duke equipment to the game, and he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not even doing this.
I'm going to Villanova, guys. See, I'm gonna watch that game.
Yeah, and the Duke's just all of a sudden out there with like not their uniforms. Like, obviously, people are gonna get pissed the fuck off.
Oh yeah, I mean, people that had tickets and I think the people that were local that had tickets, I don't think they should be that pissed. Because the show's going to get made up and they're going to be able to have the tickets are going to be honored for it. But it's people that did make travel accommodations and hotel stays and everything. They have a right to be pissed. And I don't blame them one iota over that.
It makes you hesitant to travel.
Yeah,
well, one thing that was funny too is like one person went on Twitter and said, one thing I can tell you is that even if NC State was had a time machine and you could give BJ Barham tickets to see the 1983 Lorenzo Charles dunk to beat Houston in the 83 title game, he would still play the show. And then BJ responded, how good are the seats? Like, which brings me to my question here. Let's say that Trucker, Andy, and Kyle are big time artists. You're selling out 10 to 25,000 tickets. And Andy, you get to go attend a, I don't know, finance convention or a Dave Ramsey speech that's once in a lifetime. I don't know what you're into these days. Kyle, ECU's playing in the college football playoff national title and they're favored by 10. Are you?
It's true, it's a fantasy.
Are you? Are you going to try to? What would you do? Would you go or would you honor your commitment?
Here's the thing.
Here's the deal.
I would watch. Obviously, I would be watching the season, and I would come about November when I could tell we were making a run. I would just be like, "Look, my manager, you might as well clear my slate for the entire month of January." I mean, that's honestly what I would do.
Sure.
If we don't even make it.
Well, that goes back to my point. Eric Church must not really have too much confidence in his beloved Heels and Hubert Davis to even make it to New Orleans. So,
but if I could see that writing on the wall, I would just say, you might as well clear the slate. I'm not doing shit in January.
Right. But
because if
gun to your head, though, you have to choose between playing the show or seeing ECU, and you already had everything scheduled. Would you play the show or would you go to Atlanta, let's say, to see ECU in the college football national title game? Gun to your head, you have to pick. You're at the airport and you're telling your private airline pilot on your jet.
How far away is my show from the game being played?
I don't know. Say San Antonio to New Orleans and is the distance. Just pick two cities at random.
Okay. You know what I probably do is I probably just sit my phone down on the stage and play the show like I would do at a wedding. All
right, Andy. You're playing your whatever music you're into these days, and you're going to see something that you really would like to see. Because I've known you since we were 5, and I feel like I don't really know you anymore. You don't like country music. You hate sports.
He's a borderline communist.
Jesus Christ, that's wrong. No, I would play the show because I am paranoid that if I make a commitment to something, even if it's something like I can't control and I can't make it, I'm paranoid that kind of stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
I can't stand not being a no-show, especially at last minute. I can't deal with it. It stresses me out.
Yeah, it would eat me alive inside.
I like to think, just like everyone else in our armchair situations here, that I would play the show. Ultimately, it would suck, but I think I would have to play the show. But I don't think it's that easy of a decision, honestly.
No, it's not.
I think that it would be something that I would be very, very tempted. 9 o'clock roughly. I'd be very tempted. By the time it comes on. Yeah, very tempted to go to the game. Anybody that says that if you're a big sports fan and you love a team like a lot and they're playing in this type of moment and you say that you 100% wouldn't do it, I think you're lying. I do. I think you're lying. I think it would be a very difficult decision for big time sports fans in that situation. Now, ultimately, I think a lot of people would waffle between the two, but anybody that says they 100% wouldn't do it, you're lying. Don't believe it.
Yeah, like I said, I think you're correct. He didn't have a lot of confidence, and two, I mean, like I said, the game was set on Saturday. As soon as they win, cancel the show.
Yeah,
not like
they should have done it.
My main beef is the fact it's 24 hours out.
Yeah, they should have definitely
left
done it
people
before.
holding the bag where they can't even reschedule because, the way I look at it is I can't remember what's the hell is the name of that Luke Combs song where it's essentially like a humble song where, you worked overtime to buy the tickets, the beer and the babysitter or whatever. I mean, people made sacrifices to come watch you play.
Right.
And you just left them holding the bag. And that sits kind of wrong with me.
No, so, I'm with you 100% on that. I think that it was handled in a very
poor way. It was short-sighted.
This is where I think I was different from a lot of people with their takes on it. Everyone's hot takes on Twitter. I don't blame him for going to the game.
I don't either.
I'll say that. I'd be very tempted to do the same thing. I don't blame him for going to the game. I think he handled it very poorly.
The way it was handled is unacceptable.
Yes, I agree with that. I would have done everything in my power to have like my happy ass at that game. Like,
yeah, and what he should do is he should offer a voucher to any show for that person. Actually, in all honesty, since he canceled, he honestly should offer him 2 vouchers to any venue.
Refund and a voucher.
Yeah.
Refund and a voucher to another show,
or a minimum, give him a refund on that show for whatever his cut of the ticket price would be. Because the problem is like with the promoter and
I think
like
you
the
should need
venue
the
and
cost.
everything.
I think you should need the cost.
100%, he probably should.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think you should. He's huge. The money is not the issue for him. No. He can take a hit. So that's why I say, and to the right thing to do would be at least give them a full refund on the ticket. And if he wanted to be really charitable, I'd say, all right, you can pick a venue in my next tour, and we'll give you a free ticket.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I don't make those calls.
Yeah.
But I think that would be the pro-consumer move, because if you don't have fans, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
You're just a dude at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. But like I said, some things up with how I don't blame him for going the game. Probably would do the same thing. Handled it poorly. I mean, it's that's simple to me. Like, could have handled it better. Should have canceled it beforehand, so people had a chance to get refunds on travel and stay and everything. But right. Eric Church canceled San Antonio show, 20,000 seats. Going to be at the Duke Carolina game. He's pulling for Carolina. Go to Hell Carolina. It's go to Hell Carolina week. Moving next on the rundown, like we said, Duke-UNC Final Four. They've never met in the tournament before. It's crazy that the first time they're meeting is in the Final Four. The last time that this almost happened was 1991, and they were on opposite sides, so they would have met for the national title. But Kansas, ironically, who was coached by Roy Williams at the time, beat Dean Smith in Carolina, and then Kansas lost to Duke in the national title game that year. But we have a Duke-Carolina matchup. For those of you that are listening, not in the state of North Carolina, I know you're aware of the rivalry. I mean, if you have watched any 30 seconds of ESPN during March, you're aware of it. But you don't truly understand the rivalry. Unless you have been born and raised in North Carolina, you don't really get it. North Carolina as a whole with college basketball, I argue, is almost different than any other state, just because the amount of like quality D1 programs that we have across all sports, but in basketball, you've got 4 in the ACC that 2 are consistently good, and the other 2 have their years in modern times. But we are the only state that has a combined 13 national titles in the college basketball. Tobacco Road, 3 of those teams are all in the same area. Duke and Carolina have been monsters for 30 years going at it. But it's not even about the success. It's about the fans. And the fans, in this sense, if you've grown up in North Carolina and it's like a heated rivalry that will turn friends against each other. Family will not speak over these things. I can tell you personally, grew up a Duke fan. Anytime Duke would lose a game, I was the only Duke fan in my class. Anytime Duke would lose a game, the whole class was waiting for me in 5th grade for me to walk in the door, and I would just get berated by all the UNC fans. That's what it's like for college basketball in North Carolina. It really is like, it's almost to the level, not quite, but almost to the level of how they treat high school football in Texas. It's like, it's a different level here than it is a lot of places, because a lot of these other states, they have one really good team. We have 2, and then a couple of others that have years where they're pretty good. So it's like, and they're all pretty close by. It's different in North Carolina. The rivalry with Duke Carolina is so heated and so hated. Like, this was a game that the fans of both these schools didn't actually want to ever happen. It's the casual fans are the ones that are going to enjoy this more. This is going to take years off people's life having to watch this, because if you lose this game, you pretty much have lost ground in the rivalry, in my opinion, forever. So, what do you guys think happens? San Antonio, I got the church thing on my mind. New Orleans this weekend, Duke versus Carolina.
Andy, go ahead.
I think, I don't want to jinx anything, but I think Carolina is the worst thing that's ever existed. And I hate them.
Go to hell, Carolina.
But I don't want to say anything else.
Fair enough.
Out of safety reasons.
Kyle,
for safety reasons for a jinx.
Yeah, as the guy who doesn't like either school, but probably hates Carolina a little more.
Well, so backstory. So Duke is essentially where all the Northeast people send their kids to private school for a Southern education. So the 2/3 of Duke's student population is from like New Jersey and New York. So they're not really a Southern school.
No, definitely not.
No, UNC is, they like to consider themselves a public Ivy, but they're
just a shithole.
Yeah,
it's a shithole school.
Yeah, it is. It's not the same school my mom went to. She'll be the first to admit it. And they're the wine and cheese crowd. I'm sorry, there's no other way to describe it. They don't even have a very good college basketball atmosphere, considering their prowess.
I have fallen asleep during a game at the Dean Dome.
Well, yeah, their problem is when they built the Dean Smith Center, they essentially gave lifetime rights to tickets to people that donated X amount of dollars. So now you have just 80-year-old men that just sit in primetime seats and they just cram the students in these little corners. And it's just lame. You know, they're all in their Argyle sweaters and khakis, and they just golf clap with a free throw.
Checking their watch more times than Joe Biden.
Yeah, they're the institution that is the University of North. Oh my God! Send one fucking text message. I'm sorry. They sent 5 fucking individual sentences. I got to put my phone on mute. That just irks me to no avail. I've said before that I think the rivalry is going to take a small hit, being that K is retiring. And he is essentially the one that built the program. They were good before, but they weren't what they've become since he's taken the coach.
No, but no other program really outside of Carolina and maybe Kentucky has been in that same time frame anywhere close to what Duke has been. Like,
yeah, and he's almost, other than I believe 2 appearances, he's solely responsible. And, you know, we have our own debate about.
No, they had 11 ACC titles before him. They had 4 or 5 Final Fours and went to the national title game. So the 19
things in the 60s. I'm sorry.
They were in the national championship game in 1978, 2 years before he got there.
Yeah, but just
the second winningest coach of the 1960s was Duke's coach Vic Bubas, NC State grad, by the way. But
yeah,
Bubas.
That was his name, yeah. Bubas.
That's an awful name.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being in 3rd grade and they're like, "Hey, Victor Bubas."
Oh, he got picked on hardcore. Like I said, he's solely responsible for Duke as a brand.
Them as a blue blood, yes, 100%.
He's solely responsible.
100%.
He has navigated modern college basketball like no one else because he's been there for 40 years.
Yeah.
No other coach is even remotely close to that.
No.
So, in my honest opinion, I don't care. I really don't care. I think a lot of those players really got butthurt the fact that they got their ass whooped on Coach K's final game in Cameron Indoor. And I think a lot of those ex-players that were there really took exception to that, and they probably, put a word in those players' ears, and I think they're going to put an ass whooping down. I really do.
I hope so.
Go ahead. My honest opinion, I think Coach K rides out on top. I think it bothered Coach K that he lost like that. His last game.
100%.
You don't really see him get animated a lot, but I don't think.
Not these days.
He's
75.
Yeah, well, he might have a heart attack, but I think it didn't sit with him well, and you can tell he's not his normal self. He's a little more out, opened up a little bit in his forced tournament interviews or whatever. But like I said, I think Duke's going to put an ass whooping down, and I think Duke. I really think Duke takes the title.
I think that I hope what you're saying happens. Just because in reality, Duke is by far, when it comes to just sheer talent, they're by far the most talented team of the 4 that are in New Orleans. But Carolina and Duke are both playing really good basketball right now. And this game is a weird game in that the best team doesn't always win. It's not like a normal matchup. There is the rivalry implications on this that even if one of them is down one year, they still tend to play this game pretty close a lot of times.
Like the NFC East.
Yeah. Back before the NFC East sucked, because there was a time that the NFC East was a great, great division. But reality is, like, I'm not really looking forward to this game. I think this game's going to be very, very stressful. And that's mainly because I see your comment and agree with your comment about Carolina fans being the wine and cheese crowd, but that's only for the people that went there. The fan base that didn't go there is the most god-awful group of human beings I've ever met in my life.
Which is 99% of their fans.
Yes. Like the ones that, and half of them bought their apparel at Walmart. In North Carolina, we call them the Walmart fans for UNC. A lot of them have never stepped foot on campus a day in their life, and they've barely been within 20 miles of Chapel Hill. I mean, it's literally just like the mullet wearing, Budweiser crushing, sitting there, hell yeah, brother. Roy and the boys going to do it again kind of bullshit. Like, they're the most god-awful fan base I've ever met in my life.
And the university itself contradicts everything they believe.
Yeah, seriously. Like, those folks that love UNC, the university hates them. So it's like, why they pull for them, I don't know. But I just, it really is just the worst group of people. I don't mean as people, I mean as fans. As a fan base, they are the worst fan base.
Yeah, they're insufferable.
Like, there's only two things I've said for years that I hate in this life. That's communism and the University of North Carolina. And there's some crossover in between those two.
Okay, so the way I would describe them is they think they are the Alabama of football.
Yeah.
However, they are nowhere. What they really are in football is more so they win probably once, every 3 to. They're more of an Ohio State and not an Alabama.
They're not even an Ohio State.
No, they win probably once every 3 to 5 years. They're perennially good every 5 to 7 years.
In football?
No, in basketball.
You said football.
I know. I'm making a comparison to football.
Okay. I get
Alabama
you.
is good every single
year. In football.
Yeah, they think that's who they are.
Yeah.
They're more so aligned with Ohio State when they get one transformative player who takes a good team and makes them great. And that's who I think they are. But here's the thing. As our esteemed resident Homer Jordan said, they're all Roy's players. When they weren't very good and he was, not on the bandwagon with Hubert Davis. College basketball is changing. I think the rivalry is probably going to lose a little bit of its luster.
I think so.
Because I don't think as many people care about John Shire and Hubert Davis as they do about Roy Williams and Dean Smith and Kay.
Yeah.
But
I agree. I don't want to lose. Don't want Duke to lose to UNC because, like I said, UNC is the most insufferable group of miserable fucks you've ever met in your life. I literally hate the University of North Carolina with every fiber of my being, with the passion of 1,000 burning hells. That's how much I hate that hellhole, that shithole school, University of North Carolina. Go to hell, Carolina.
And one final thing, like Logan said, my mother went there. So I have a direct attachment to the university. 99% of their fan base probably has never been to the pit, probably has never been on Franklin Street, has never seen Kenan Stadium, who's never been to the student store. I grew up going to all of those places, and I still hate that damn place. So, like I said, and, one of the things I always ride Jordan's ass about, he's like, my granddad went there. I was like, yeah, bro, in the fucking 60s. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's not even remotely the same school.
Yeah, that was back when they still had their racist statues up, too.
Yeah. They were, yep. UNC was pro-racism, just for all you people there.
Yeah, just Google it.
Yeah, to show how much different the university was. This is not going to get off on a political rant. My mother watched Randy Travis at the Dean Smith Center. And then the following year, she watched Leonard Skinner at Hank Williams Jr. in the Dean Smith Center. Those three people would not be allowed within a 30-mile radius of that campus now.
Especially Randy Jr.
Yeah, and all I was going to say is Randy Travis has never done anything wrong that we know about.
Well, except for that one time he got naked and got drunk and laid out in the street or some shit.
That's not
he did do that one time.
Don't sound that bad.
It's not even remotely comparison to Hank Williams.
What was it? Mike Tyson said in The Hangover, "Look, we all do stupid shit when we're fucked up."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Randy Travis hasn't done anything that UNC when that's. I mean, okay, here's the hypocritical part. They would get mad at Randy Travis for that, but they still do the naked mile.
Yeah. I've seen the Snapchats from people I know. Yeah, they're running through the library naked.
Naked. Yep, they do that. Pro-sexual assault university.
I was about to say, I think we should register all of them as sex offenders.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of young women that they tell.
A lot of public nudity.
Yeah, they tell a lot of young women to get naked and streak. So.
Yeah, Andy, they get to run through campus and run through the city naked while we get popped for freaking pissing at a parking deck one time.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Tell me the justice in that, America.
Don't be in public. Get in a lot of trouble.
Don't be in public. You get in trouble and you have to do community service in my case. Andy, he just told the judge to fuck himself, and Andy got able to walk free. Didn't make sense to me. Either way, Carolina sucks. Go to hell, Carolina.
Yeah, they do.
All right, let's move in. Next on the rundown, we've got a few songs for you guys that we want to give some reactions to. We've got one by Randall King. He's got a new album coming out called the song that we're going to be talking about here is called Shot Glass. Came out on Friday. We've got another one by Jacob Stelly and Slade Coulter called Burnout. And one by Andy's boy, Josh Meloy, called Already Dead. And then one by Derek Anderson featuring Josh Thompson called Days That End in Y, and that is WHY. All right, we'll start off with Randall King, Shot Glass. Play a clip of the chorus, and then we'll jump in.
It ain't that big, it seems so small, but still somehow it holds it on. So here's a year. My checkered past, gonna shoot it down and not look back. All her love.
All right, so that's the chorus to Shot Glass by Randall King. So, Andy, what do you think?
Contrary to what you people are about to say about me, I have no objections to the song sonically. Aside from that, I don't get it. I don't know what this song's about. It doesn't make sense to me. Somebody tell me what this song's about.
I don't really think it has much of a meaning. I think it's just more of a reflective drinking song.
I want to say that I've got to give it some more listens to give it, because we just put this list together today for full disclosure. So we haven't had a chance to digest these songs in the normal amount of time. But I want to say it's like he was talking about his checkered past, and he's like wanting to try to start a life with a young lady. And he's like, that part where he said, my checkered past, we're going to shoot it down like a shot glass. Like he's going to move forward in his relationship. But
why you want to keep talking about old stuff?
Yeah. Why you got to keep bringing that shit up?
Why you got to keep bringing up old shit, man?
I find it funny how that one time 5 years ago.
It's funny how that always just get brought up at the most random times.
I know, and narrator, it was not funny. All right, Kyle, what did you think of the song?
I think you could release 2022 with 2003, and there's almost no difference in what you would hear on the radio in 2003 in this song, which I like. Yeah. I like the sound of the late 90s, early 2000s country. Irrespective of what I think it's about, I don't really think it's a very deep song. I think it's, like I said, it's just more of a retrospective drinking song. And I like it. I like the sound. I like the way he sung the song. Like it sounds like something you would hear on country radio in 2003, which I am extremely fond of.
I like it too because it's very Randall King is unabashedly neo-traditional, which I really dig about his sound. He is a guy that said that he holds the 03 Dierks Bentley self-titled debut album in high regard and loves that era. Dierks, as do I. Those first 3 records of his obviously still hold up. So give me song. He's signed to a mainstream label now, so it's like he's getting the big push that those guys in Nashville get. So I'm for it. I like Shot Glass. I love the neo-traditional sound. Like, this is country music. By God, country music. So I'm about it. Randall King, Shot Glass. All right, next up. Go ahead.
He has the name of a classic country singer too.
Yeah, he really does, and he has the vocals to match.
Good name.
Yeah, it's a good name. Yeah,
and it just works that his name is Randall too. Like, instead of like Rand, it's like Randall King. It's perfect country name.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so next up we have one by Jacob Stelly and Slade Coulter. They co-wrote this song together. It's called Burnouts. So play a clip and then be right back.
'Cause I'm burning, let down, a hard way to find it. I ain't what you want me to be. Stick around and see how this one might play out. Are you giving in or giving up on me?
All right, so it's Burnout by Jacob Stelly and Slade Coulter. We'll go reverse order this time. I like this song a lot. It's kind of up my alley. It's sad boy music and a sad boy season, folks. But it's sad boy music. It's I like both their voices. I think you guys kind of said this before. I think that they both kind of Stelly reminds me a little bit of Parker. You guys say Slade vocally reminds you a little bit of Parker, but I like their vocal styles. This song in particular, it's kind of like, it's not working out in the relationship, and he's a burnout. He's basically, is she giving up or on him? Like, how is the relationship going to go? And it's like at the very beginning where he's saying that he is trying to avoid the things that are better left unsaid, but he lets it go to his head. There's obviously a problem in the relationship, and it's starting to bother him. And he doesn't want it to end, but maybe he just isn't good enough for her, and he never will be. But I like the song a lot. It's right up my alley. So, Kyle.
Yeah, I 100% agree with pretty much what you said. This is like that kind of hybrid sound of whatever's coming out of Texas. I don't really know how we classify it now. It's not quite your typical sad boy country song. It's almost like a sad boy hybrid rock sound and
alt rock.
That's a great way to describe it. And I love that type of that genre. I know you just alluded to it. I think me and Andy are a little more on the Slade Coulter side of the song than what's his face? Name is eluding me now.
Jacob Stelly.
Jacob Stelly, yep. Terrible with names. But like I said, I like it a lot. This is actually the one I listened to the most of the 3 you sent me. It's actually probably my favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you guys were saying that Randall King, you said he has a perfect country name. I think his voice is like very suited for country music. Stelly's is not like super traditional country. It's like I said, it's similar in my mind to Parker in that way, how it's not like a traditionally country like sounding like voice to me. But Andy, what'd you think of Burnout?
I didn't get enough time to get into the lyrics of this one enough. I like it. It's like that Stelly's voice didn't show up to me until like they did a song. He did this song with Slade Coulter. Like his stuff by itself, it never bothered me. I didn't notice it. I think they both sound like Parker. They both like it's the way they enunciate certain words. I don't know if you believe like their accent or like something. I think they both sound like Parker, but I do think Slade sounds more like Parker than Stelly.
I think it's just the phrasing. I don't know if that's what part of Texas they're from, or if Parker had influence on them. I don't really know their background musically on what they were into, but it's the phrasing of it. I think it reminds me of how he phrases things. So it's not saying that they're just like Parker McCollum sonically and vocally, but It's kind of like what kind of came to mind a little bit with the way they kind of had some phrasing. But
there's somebody else from that area that like says certain words like I guess more so maybe it's just Parker is the first one we heard do it, and that's why we say Parker.
Yeah, probably so. But
I could see Parker covering the song and being.
Oh, I could see this being a Parker McCollum song.
Yeah.
Good song. But
yeah.
All right, now moving into the one where it's Derek Austin. Don't know anything about this guy. But I came across this and I decided to listen to it because it was featuring Josh Thompson, and I am a pretty big Josh Thompson fan, I would say. I was a big fan of his mainly because, like, when I was 16, when that era, his Cold Beer with Your Name on It era, I was a big fan of that music at the time when I just got my license. I used to listen to it in the F-150 all the time. So when I saw that, I was like, I want to listen to it. So play a clip from the song and then we'll jump in.
Why you burning up some West Coast town? Why you ain't around when the stars come out? Why you gotta keep showing up? You were gone for good this time. I'm just wondering where the silver lining's at. Where you go when you lose a love like that. It's the same old every night. Nothing but dirt roads, dive bars, and days that end in Y.
All right, so there's days that end in Y, and that's W-H-Y, not the letter Y, as the old saying goes. So, Kyle, what did you think of this one by Derek Austin featuring Josh Thompson?
Well, first, it's probably the most pop country of the four. I like what the song is attempting to do. I don't like the generic cliches it puts in there. I feel like they're kind of filler, dirt roads and blah, blah, blah. When I saw the title of the song, I was really, really optimistic. I was like, ooh, that's clever. That's a clever name of a song. It just didn't quite land to me. It's one of those songs you're like, oh, damn. Because I saw like I said, I saw the title and I was like, I love that's
title.
That's a great wordplay. And if this is good, I could see this being phenomenal. But it just didn't. It's a good song. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's friendly to listen to.
Yeah.
It's as far as lyrically goes, I think it kind of missed.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I think I like it a little more than you do, but at the same time, I think it's very similar. And how I look at it is how, like, that Tommy Rhett song we talked about, where he was like learned a lot from inmates and everything that he did.
Oh yeah.
Blue Tacoma Man and the other half of FGL.
Yeah.
The other way is like, it's a great idea for a song that maybe wasn't executed to the level that it could have been.
Yes, the title is just freaking.
The title is phenomenal. Yeah, it's a great title for a song, and I think the song is very pleasant to listen to. I like the melody and the chorus. Like you said, it's pretty pop country in some ways. Like I'm not a hater of pop country. Like, I think that, for example,
I'm not either.
Haley Whitter's new record some of it is pop country done really well. So it's just a good example of how pop country in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's when pop country is bad, it's bad. This song, I don't like the program beats in parts of it. I don't like some of the production choices, but it's not enough to piss me off. Like, I do like the song overall, and it's something that I definitely will listen to again. It's a pleasantly done song that is probably sounds good when it's sunny and 75 and you're riding down the road. But it is a little bit of a disappointment in that the title is so awesome, and it just didn't quite live up to it. From a songwriting perspective, but overall, I do like the song. So,
oh yeah, I listen to it. It's just like like I was just disappointed when I saw that title. I was like, "Ooh, that's clever as fuck."
I mean, you hit the the nail on the head when you talked about, like, they had to mention like Dirt Road and everything. Like, if this was like 2006. I mean, it hadn't have been said to death like it has now. We get it, dirt roads. And Andy and I went on a tirade on like one of the first few episodes on this, how dirt roads actually kind of suck. Like they really are terrible.
The dirt road,
yeah, dirt roads suck. I don't know. Everybody wants to fetishize. I can't even say that word, but you know what I mean. They want to have a fetish over dirt roads. They suck.
Tarmac's superior. There's a reason. There's a reason DOT paves roads. They're not all dirt.
Andy, what'd you think of this one by Derek Austin and Josh Thompson?
I probably like it more than you guys do. I do agree. I wish they would have left Dirt Road. That line, wish that would have replace it with almost anything else other than tight blue jeans. But this, so I agree with that. I really like the title, but to me, I wasn't let down by the title because I had the same thought Kyle did. But this is one of those where not every song has to be super deep. So I think it's not a super deep song, but I think it's perfectly fine for not being, I don't want to say perfectly fine. That's probably not the way. I think it is really good for a not super deep song. It's also kind of classic Josh Thompson to me. Like it's very similar to Cold Beer with her name on it. Yeah. I still really like that song. So I could be biased because I am a big Josh Thompson fan. But in the production that Logan mentioned, it was small enough that I didn't even notice it.
Yeah. Until
he pointed it out, I didn't even hear it.
I think some of that too could have been. You said you weren't listening to it on your best speaker, where I was like using my headphones, so it was like I was able to hear the instruments lower in the mix, probably a little more easily. But
that could have been it too.
Yeah, I mean, but I agree. It's quintessential Josh Thompson, and I like Josh Thompson. I like his music. I
even like his bad songs.
Yeah. But it's like you said, it's you can draw a line between this and Cold Beer with Your Name on it. I really like that song, and I enjoy that song. But it's shallow end of the pool kind of stuff. It's not, but like you said, not every song has to be deep. But at the same time, when you have a song that's like, when you got every day that ends in Y like that, I expect a little more.
Yeah, when you got a banger title like that, it's like having a phenomenal title to a book and the pages are just empty.
Yeah.
Or it's like writing a great headline in a newspaper and then the story just doesn't live up to your banger.
So you mean every newspaper article that's ever existed?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. But half of writing a good newspaper article is the headline. So
Oh, yeah. Trust me, on our blog, I try to write clickbaity headlines all the time.
You got to game the system.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I was so excited for that title. And that might be my own problem. I got really excited about the title.
I think the same here. The reason I clicked on it was because Josh Thompson, and then I read the title, and I was like, "Ooh, this could be good."
Yeah.
And then it was like it was good, but it was like the title was phenomenal. Like I think
I usually get really let down though on titles.
Yeah, overall solid song. Like
yeah, it's a solid song. I just maybe in my head I was expecting more. Just based on something, but that might be a personal problem that I need to solve. But that's why we're here.
Derek Austin featuring Josh Thompson, Days at End and Why. All right, last up on this music roundup here on the Cold Cans Rundown, a guy that we did a reaction video for a song Washington Street. Andy discovered him. It's Josh Meloy, and he has a new song called Already Dead. Andy, I'm going to throw it over to you, kind of give a little bit more on the background. You found this song, and I think that if I wouldn't be wrong in saying that you're a pretty big fan of it. So give us a recap of Already Dead by Josh Meloy.
We always like generally when we're talking about Turnpike songs, how we always say they're like short stories. To me, this song basically is a short story in song form. It's a short story with a chorus, basically. I really like the rocking chorus that it has to it. I like how it is exceptionally dark lyrically, which I kind of think kind of makes it a little better. Also makes it, maybe I'm crazy, but you
always have like murder songs.
Yeah, they're not always murder songs. They're usually a little
someone dies in
it. they're extra for whatever the lyrically is about. But I like how the last chorus changes the previous choruses into past tense. I always like when people do that, and I don't like the way I guess it would be falsetto, the way he sings the very last part of the song. But
I think that's it. I want to say that's a different singer because it's supposed to be a character change.
Yeah, I think it's still him though, but it is a character change.
Yeah, it's a character.
I think it is.
That's something that we need to like mention because that's important with this song. Like, there's a clear. Well, I don't think it's totally 100% clear, but I think that it is a relatively clear narrative throughout the song, which I find really cool. Of where Andy, tell me if I'm wrong on this, like a guy placed a gun on the an original narrator. He gets framed for something. He goes to jail.
Go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
The sheriff, he got the song starts out that he it was a train wreck and he prison train wreck. He got out and then he went looking for the sheriff that put him in jail because he thinks the sheriff planted a gun under his pillow for the crime that he didn't commit. So he goes and tracks down the sheriff and brutally murders him. And then and then it's that character change at the end. And one of the things I like about the character change is at first it doesn't make any sense. But the character change is that someone else has come and tracked him down because he heard his wife when she was sleeping whispered his name. And so he was banging his wife. So then he goes back and he planted the gun and sent him to jail. And then he kills the person that escaped.
Original narrator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I like this song. I think that it's there's a narrative throughout it, which I find really cool. I think my criticism of the song is it's too damn long. Like anything over 4.5 minutes, I have a hard time staying and paying attention to. 7 minutes is entirely too long for it. But this song did it pretty well. I mean, I like the storyline behind it. His music definitely leans pretty rocky. Sonically, which, I'm cool with. But overall, I liked it.
My biggest complaint with the song is the way it's mixed. The music is louder than his voice in a lot of the song. And I had to listen to it like 5 times to just hear what he was saying. When
it's almost like a wall of sound.
Yeah, I don't know
where it's like doesn't give the vocals enough room to breathe.
Yeah, if they would have just made the instruments a little quieter and his voice a little louder, I think it would have done a lot more for the song. Like, and I don't know if it was done that way on purpose. If it was, well, they're the artiste and I'm not. But I felt like an old man listening to the song because I was like, rewind 30 seconds. What did he say there? I'm sitting here listening like this.
Like the music's too damn loud.
Yeah, I was just like, what? Okay. Now I get it. And if I have to put effort into, it sounds like such a lazy ass thing to say, but if I have to put an extensive amount of effort into listening just to know what you're saying, I think that's
like to be able to hear it audibly,
to hear it audibly.
Yeah,
hear it audibly.
That's what reason Andy used to never like Isbell was because Andy said that his voice was too low in the mix.
Yeah, I mean,
I also can't understand him the way he sings. I can't understand his words.
I'm just not a very big fan of him, but personal reasons. But yeah, I mean, it's just too low in the mix. I don't know if it's because he's up and coming and he didn't have a slick audio engineer or what.
I mean, recording's expensive, right? So it's like,
I'm not knocking him for it. I'm just, it is what it is. It's just when I'm trying to listen to it and I hear more of the guitar than I do of you.
Yeah.
Into the song, it's just way damn too long.
Yeah, the song's too damn long.
It's like a 70s rock song that has a 3-minute guitar solo in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have it.
Right.
So,
I do appreciate the narrative, the line that's drawn throughout and with the story behind it. Because it's the opposite. It's the very opposite of what we normally criticize songs about, where they're very checklisty. And it's just like they had a, we said something about trucks, we said something about tailgates, we said something about dirt roads, we're good to go. Throw a catchy hook on it and we're good. It's a song, 3 minutes. But this one's the opposite. Like Andy said, it's a short story, but it is too damn long, to your point.
It's unique. And the other thought I would had about it is that it is so much like a short story. I mean, would this necessarily be a song that you would go back and listen to many times?
I would go back and listen to it, but it depends on the context of what I'm doing. If I'm driving down the road on a long trip, yes, probably. If I'm just doing my commute from the office to home, probably not. Because it's just like, I'm not, at that point in the day, I'm not really listening to the song to absorb the music. You know what I mean?
That song is longer than my commute to work and then back home.
Aren't you fortunate? But it's a good song.
Yeah, I think this song is longer than what it takes Chick-fil-A to serve me lunch when the cars are wrapped around the building.
Well, those fuckers at Chick-fil-A literally have that shit down pat. So,
in this town,
our Chick-fil-A is jamming, but they're
pretty efficient.
Pretty damn efficient. They have the sign up in the
soft
front.
Drinks today.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Look, have you seen their sign they have out front where they says how many customers they serve between 11 and 2?
Yeah,
they did over 400 cars.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that place is kicking butt.
Oh yeah, but yeah,
the song's too damn long. If I'm listening to Led Zeppelin and I know there's a damn 3-minute guitar solo in the middle, I don't feel like listening to it. I can just slide over it.
I never listened to the whole solo for Freebird.
Yeah, so like I said, you can skip it and then get back to him saying the song you can't skip. It's way too damn long.
100%. But
7 minutes is way too damn long. I don't have an attention span long enough.
Overall, though, this was a good group of songs this week that were released that we had. It's one of the better groups of songs we've had in a while. So, But all right, so that's the music roundup this week on the Cold Cans Rundown. Last thing before we get out of here is, we talked about March Madness Final Fours this weekend, so we decided quick to end the show with a draft of some sort where we're going to draft. Each of us get 3 picks, and the context of it is it's just like the NBA draft or NFL draft. You can't draft the same player there, so you can't draft the same tournament here. We're doing our draft of 3 best or 3 favorite playoffs or tournaments, meaning like hockey playoffs, NFL playoffs, things like that, the March Madness. So we'll give Andy the first pick, Kyle second pick, me third. Andy, actually, let's not do that because Andy doesn't like sports. So Kyle, you get the first pick. Andy will get
snake. Are we doing snake?
Yeah, we'll do snake draft. So right. Kyle goes first, I go second, Andy third, and then we'll reverse it. And so you'll basically be first or third, right? Every time. So,
yep.
All right, Kyle, first pick in the best tournament / playoff draft. Who are you taking?
It's not even a question. It's the NFL playoffs. It's not even a question. It's just not even a question.
NFL sucks.
No. It's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal television for a month straight.
It's all rigged.
If you pick the college football playoff after you just said that, I'm going to call you a master.
No, I'm going with the clear number. What should have been the number 1 overall, but it's number March 2 Madness. In this draft. It's March Madness. It's not even close.
Is it the men's or the women's?
Either one. It's the same format, basically. I mean, so like March Madness.
Are they the same?
Well, no.
On an aside, did you know that this year's the first year that the NCAA allowed the women's tournament to use the term March Madness?
Really?
Yeah, they weren't allowed to use March Madness until this year.
That's crazy.
Which I thought was wild.
That's very crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's March Madness. I mean, literally, it's single elimination. You have really 64 because you have the play-in, but whatever, 68 teams. And it's just an incredible amount of games the first weekend. You always have upsets. Like this year's story with St. Peter's was incredible. They're a 15 seed who don't even pay their assistant coaches, and they made it to the Elite Eight this year. I mean, come on. No other sport has a playoff or tournament scenario that's this exciting, this much chaos, this much, dare I say, madness in March. And like I said, it's not a best of 7. This is one thing the NFL has going for it, I got to say. It's not a best of 7 like in most professional sports or anything. It's literally the best team doesn't always win because on any given day, you can lose, and it makes for a crazy, fun-filled tournament over the course of a few weeks. So for me, it's March Madness. It's my first pick. Andy?
So you said I get the next 2 picks?
Yes, but for round 1, what's your pick in the number 3 slot?
Oh, give me Major League Baseball.
That's solid.
Because for every reason you just said about March Madness, I like the Game 7 where you almost can't get an upset. I like that.
Game 5 and Game 7, yeah.
And I'm also going to say that basically hockey and college baseball is all basically based off Major League Baseball, isn't it?
I don't know.
No.
College baseball is not anything like.
No.
College baseball is not, but hockey is the same, isn't it?
Yeah,
the NHL is similar,
same format. It's 5 and then 7.
Yeah.
So, do you pick an NHL or college baseball?
I got Major League Baseball.
You pick again.
Now you're round 2. What's your first pick?
World Cup.
Oh my gosh!
I actually like that. I like the way that's done.
Dude, soccer is such a ridiculously stupid sport.
Damn it,
Andy.
that was what I was going to pick.
Stupid too, but I like how everybody goes back and plays for their home country.
Well, too bad they're playing a dumb sport.
I would prefer it to be a different
terrible
sport,
opinion.
But I like the way the tournament's formatted. We're not doing sports. You said we're doing tournaments.
Yeah. The World Cup is in Doha this year, where it's going to be 150 degrees.
Doha is a made-up place.
No, that doesn't even sound real, Kyle.
It's in Qatar because FIFA is incredibly corrupt. Qatar is a peninsula off Saudi Arabia, and it's going to be insanely hot. And they essentially gave it to them because they bought it because oil.
Yeah.
In the 2026 World Cup, it's going to be shared between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. So we'll be here in 2026, which I don't know why we're sharing it with Canada and Mexico because, we don't need to. We could just host it ourselves. We have all the best stadiums in the world.
All I can say is Trump wouldn't have let that happen.
Trump's actually the reason they got it, surprisingly, but they made them share it. Really? I mean, that's a truthful statement. He said the U.S. needed a World Cup to rehost because last time they did it was 1994.
Yeah.
The men's, and then 1996 for the women's. Anyway, my next one is going to be.
Doesn't Snake mean I go next?
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah. So, my second pick in round 2 of the best tournament / playoffs. Ironically, I hate soccer, but I like this sport a lot, and that's the NHL playoffs. NHL playoffs are an intense thing. And if you ever have been to some playoff games live, and I've been to 4 or 5 Canes games in the playoffs. I was at Game 6 when they beat the Capitals, and OV got kicked out right before the end of the game, which forced a Game 7 to have to go to DC for them to eventually eliminate the Caps. It's a different animal being there live, and it's just so exciting, so intense. I mean, shoot, Andy, you saw the games when we were sitting there in that little dive bar in South Carolina watching the Canes Islanders. Those were like just a shutout. But the previous round that we went to, incredible sports moments, incredible passion, intensity. The roof almost blew off a PNC. That place was so loud. NHL playoffs, my second pick.
That's a good choice. Even though I don't know half the rules of hockey. If I had to go,
neither does half the people in the arena.
This is true. Yeah,
down south, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know half the rules. If I had to pick, the fights are good. I do like hockey because they encourage fighting. If I had to pick let's see. I don't really want to pick this one, but we're getting into the weeds here. I'm probably going to go with the college baseball postseason.
Damn.
Road to Omaha.
Yeah.
Because I like the regional. If you're a top 16 seed, you host. And then if you're the higher of the winner of the regional, you host a super regional. And then, obviously going to Omaha. It's fantastic. Double elimination. And like I said, it's the only sport that my alma mater has any chance of winning a national title in. So I like it a lot.
I don't know. You did win the back-to-back champions in the Barstool Best College Bar.
Yeah, that's true. I don't really count that though.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's Kyle, it's back to you. Snake Draft.
Oh, is it back to me? Okay.
It's your third pick to fill out your roster on the best tournament / playoff.
All right. You're going to yawn again, but it's actually the English FA Cup.
I don't even know what that is.
What sport is that?
It's soccer. All right. So what it is essentially English soccer is formulated very similar to how the baseball has the farm leagues. All right. So you have your top league, which is like your NFL. Then let's look at it NBA. You have your NBA teams and you have your G League teams, but they're all privately owned. They're not farm teams of other teams. Well, anyway, they all have a tournament. Fuck you both. Fall asleep. But anyway, you can get some wild ass games where essentially guys that are accountants on Monday through Friday are playing against guys that are making $250,000 a week, professional soccer players, and they're in an English tournament. And you get some wild finishes where those guys are actually, in an English final in Wembley, which is an 80,000 seat stadium, playing against, the best players in the world. Anyway, I bored you to sleep, so please continue.
Yeah. Well, you learned something about soccer.
There's no other tournament like that where, guys
regular
that
people
are playing
That's
against
cool.
world-class athletes. So
is it essentially rough and rowdy, but Mike Tyson's entered?
Essentially, so there's 4 divisions of English soccer. You have the Premier League, which is, world-class.
That many people like soccer?
Yeah, we have 4 divisions. And then, so, you have your big, really big clubs, and then you have your small, like the Carolina Mudcats are essentially playing against the New York Yankees for a chance to win the title. And, those guys are making pennies compared to it's imagine like a farm league baseball team that's not owned by the parent club playing against the New York Yankees.
Right.
They're very small local teams that are in towns of 30,000 people playing against, the New York Yankees for a chance at the World Series.
Yeah.
So it's a very cool tournament they run. I think that's me for pick round 2 and pick 3-1. So
yeah, so that leaves me. And this is a new tournament, actually. It's one that has been conducted here within the Cold Cans Network for 2 straight years over on the Miserable and Reckless pod. We call it the Southern 64. Every year in the lead up to March Madness, we have a similar setup to college basketball, but we pick 4 different brackets of music, sports, events, and or people, drinks and or food, and Southern sayings. And we've had some pretty cool winners, like Tailgating won a couple years ago. I want to say that I actually think Saturday in the Grove, Tailgating at Ole Miss, won against Do What Now, the Southern phrase that apparently we all say, and I didn't realize we say it all the time, but we do. This past year, it was a matchup of Titans. But we declare that year's most Southern person placed thing on Miserable and Reckless. So the Southern 64 tournament, always a lot of fun. We get to vote on it on the air, and we do it weekly until we're down to a champion. So
how did y'all lose? The phrase
because
y'all.
The reason it lost is because the reason we voted it out was y'all is on a list of Southern sayings that Southern people, while they do say, when carpetbaggers from the North move down here, they look up a BuzzFeed article and look up Southern things so they can feel Southern and fit in, and they overuse it. So it's been so it's like we don't want to pick just play the hits. We want the deep cuts that only real Southerners know.
And another true Southern phrase is podunk.
Yeah. But it's more of like an old Southern phrase.
Yeah.
I don't say that. I do say y'all and do what now.
Do what now all the
same time.
Yeah.
Do what now, y'all?
Another good one is what's his face?
Yeah.
Or whatchamacallit. Or whatchamacallit.
Or whatchamacallit or doohickey.
Thingamajig.
Doohickey. That's a good one.
But
Thingamajig.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, Southern 64 Terminal, Miserable and Reckless. Check that out. So that's my top 3. Andy, what's your last pick in the draft?
Mine is since now that racing has gone to playoff types, and I've been told I'm now old-fashioned and traditional. My favorite is the no tournament. I like it how you have to just win all year long. You have to be the best. There's no upsets. The best wins. For the same reason y'all doesn't win, because it's clearly the best. There's no upsets. I like no tournament. All year long, winner wins.
It's kind of how college football used to be before this abysmal abomination that is the CFP.
Yes.
You can't luck into a no tournament win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually looking back at it, I support the BCS. And then I think if you have a tie, just let those two play.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah, because really every year they've had the college football playoff, it's always two teams.
Yeah. We had way more champions and way more parity in the sport back when the computers did it.
Yeah. And every year there's just two teams.
Yeah.
Two of the teams in the college football playoff get waxed.
Yes. The semis are almost always not a game.
Yeah. They're going to get waxed. And the national title is always a game.
And it also helped where the best recruits started going to the same 5 schools more than they were before. It's like there was actually college football was actually better when the regular season, to your point in NASCAR, Andy, actually meant more. And like you used to, if you lost one game, sometimes in this BCS era, you were done. Only a few people could actually lose a game. Now, like we're having discussions every year. Could a 2-loss SEC team make the CFP? Like,
yeah. This is back to my point. You disagree with it, but the Power 5 is 5 schools, not 5 conferences.
And when it comes in terms of national titles, yes, I've never disagreed with that.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. But anyway,
but yeah, so that's our top 3 each. I had March Madness, NHL playoffs, and the miserable and reckless Southern 64. Kyle?
I had the NFL, I had the FA Cup, and college baseball.
College baseball, Omaha. Andy?
MLB, World Cup, and no tournament.
No tournament at all. Old school NASCAR. Mm-hmm. But, all right, well, old-fashioned. All right, well, make sure you go check us out on social media, on the TikTok, our YouTube channel. Click subscribe. Hit the alert bell. Go check us out on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. I mean, we're on all that shit these days. Going over to the website, Colt Cans. Yeah, Truth Social.
Whatever that thing is.
Yeah, whatever that ridiculous app. But check us out on ColtCansNetwork.com. We have more blog content. I just put up one a couple days ago where I talked about the man, the myth, the legend himself, Chris Jenkins, how he is UNC's daddy and he twisted a knife on Twitter. Good read. Check that out. Yeah. ColtCansNetwork.com. Follow us on all that. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon, pretty much where podcasts are available. Give us 5 stars. Great review. All right. For this episode of Country and Cold Cans, I'm Logan, sitting here with Trucker Andy and Kyle. It won a wall and we still ain't sold out. We'll see you next time.
That was badass.
1, 2, 3, 4.